Morning to each and everyone. It's good to be back in India. This is actually my fourth time in India and my second time in Ahmedabad. So I'll be talking about finding obvious automotive security bugs on the fly from common tools and attacks. This talk is like an introduction if you're an application security researcher, a web hacker, or a network penetration tester. So just to give you about my background, I'm currently working for VicOne. VicOne is an automotive cybersecurity company. We are a subsidiary of Trend Micro. So Trend Micro is an antivirus company, and VicOne is not an acquisition of Trend Micro. We're a different, it's a brainchild of Trend Micro. So yeah. Who am I? I'm Jay Turla, but here in India, because I have a lot of Indian friends, they call me Jaikan Shikre from the movie Singham. Yeah, they said, welcome to Ahmedabad, Singham. Yeah, so I currently work as a principal security researcher, and I came all the way from the Philippines. So my first visit of India was in Nalcon. I think that was like 2017 or 16. I forgot, but it's been a while. And I'm one of the organizers for the Car Hacking Village Philippines in Philippines, and we regularly present at RootCon, which is a hacker conference wherein everybody gets drunk even in the morning. So yeah. RootCon Goon. Goon is like a villain, right? But we're a villain because we create organized chaos in RootCon. So if you're a bad guy and then you are too drunk, we will boot you out. So yeah. I will be flying out to Singapore tonight because we made it to the finals of an ICS, IoT, and OT hacking contest managed by the government of Singapore. And we're the first Filipino team, all-team Filipino, called Team Pinoys, which is a derogatory term for Filipinos. So we made it to the finals, and we are claiming our bounties to Singapore and also getting more bounties for the finals. Yeah. So yeah. Like I said, this is an introduction. If you're an application security engineer, a hacker, a penetration tester, because from my side, I started as a web pen tester, a bug bounty hunter, a security researcher, and a network penetration tester before I moved as an automotive security researcher. All right, so these are the attack surfaces that we will be talking about, which are the most common bugs that you can find. We have the infotainment, and then we have the controller area network, or the CAN, or the CAN bus, and then we have the RF, which is radio frequency. So we will demystify some common misconceptions about RF attacks as well. So for infotainment, it's pretty much like other IoT devices, like there are Bluetooth attacks that you could do. You could also perform malform or format string vulnerabilities via RF and Bluetooth. There's a sample scenario that I'll be posting later on. And then weak authentication or passwords on services like SSH or Telnet. So you don't know, maybe some of you might be familiar that in some infotainments, if you connect it to the Wi-Fi, they have a service running called, which is SSH or Secure Shell, or sometimes Telnet. There's like a couple of presentations from other researchers detailing their findings about it. It's not that common since 2018 up, but cars like 2018 below, some of them are running SSH or Telnet, which is really stupid sometimes. And sometimes they have like weak passwords. And of course, sometimes they don't have authentication. So if you just do Telnet or NatCat, and then you're in. You got Shell, and it's your technique already how to get your privilege as root. And then, of course, you can also try to find buffer overflow or memory corruption and services. So take, for example, if your infotainment has Wi-Fi, you can try to find buffer overflow. So you need to do some fuzzing, you need to do some reverse engineering if you got the because you need to have a hardware, of course. It's not supposed to be like remote access. And then I will be showing a demo about USB auto run to code execution, which was the reason why Mazda went to DEF CON because of my finding. So this is a sample format string vulnerability from a 2011 BMW 330i. So remember, this is 2011, but we can still see a lot of infotainments that are having this kind of vulnerability. So basically what he did is that he set his smartphone to %X, %X, %X. That's the name of the iPhone, or phone, I mean. And then he tried to connect using Bluetooth with his phone name with %X, which is a format string. And then after that, he crashed his infotainment for BMW. Okay? So in automotive security testing, like this could be a hindrance sometimes because you can't use your GPS, or you can't play your favorite songs, or you can't play your or you can't call you can't do some if you're driving and then you want to do some or you want to call your contacts or your friends. So sometimes it's hard to do with holding your phone while driving, because it's dangerous, and also sometimes in some countries it's actually illegal if you do that. I don't know with India though, but yeah. I mean, it's hard for me. It's really hard for me to drive in India. It's kind of confusing because you have the right lane drive, we have a left lane drive. So maybe if I'll drive right now, I will surely crash one of the cars. Yeah. So this is from the Mazda infotainment. So in the US, if you have a 2017 below Mazda, if you connect to your Wi-Fi, you got this default credentials. So it gives you root right away. So it's like a backdoor, but it's yeah. So it's JCI in some countries. It's root JCI. So it's password. It's like username and password. And then there's a normal privileged user called user JCI. So yeah, this has been patched already. So that's why it's okay to talk. And I've asked them to I'll just show the previous hack that I did back then. And then this is a sample USB to code execution. I got curious to so I read up one of the details from a PDF that allows you to pull up data from CMU. CMU, this is the supplier for the infotainment, and also analyze the app from Trust. So there's a developer from San Francisco who is into creating apps for Mazda. And then there's a documentation to how do you pull up the data from the infotainment, the log files. So what I did is that I read one of the code, and here it is. So basically, it's actually trying to call a shell script. So from there, I modified one of the pulling up file, and then after that, I actually modified the SSH script to allow me to somehow execute uname space -a just for POC purposes. So this is the actual Mazda that I own at home. So yeah, you just need to insert the flash drive on the USB port. Yeah, and that is the infotainment. It's touchscreen. It's 2017 actually. And you wait for a few seconds before you are able to pop up the shell. Waiting, let's wait. Yeah. I don't see Mazda, but that's a POC. And then after that, it executes. my message, and then also executes, yeah. And then from there, you get a normal privilege user, so you can actually try to elevate your privilege as well. So for infotainment, there are some stupid attacks that works. There's also one experience that I have wherein I reported to HackerOne back then. I can't disclose the car. If I actually insert a keyboard to the car, I can control the infotainment. But then, that's not a vulnerability, right? Because that's plug and play. So the vulnerability there is that after a minute, it DOS the infotainment. So basically, it's actually, you need to restart the car for you to be able to use the infotainment again. So that's actually, it may sound stupid really, but it's so simple, but sometimes you get a reward for it. And I tell you, there are some automotive companies that are rewarding this kind of bugs. Yeah. So next is one of the famous, like if you do car hacking, it's not just about opening the car. It's not just about using Flipper Zero. We have a protocol called Controller Area Network. And then this is the standard protocol made by Bosch. And if this is my testing methodology when I try to do a pen test or automotive security testing for our clients, or for when I try to hunt bugs for automotive, the first thing that we need to do, just like in any penetration testing, is we do a recon, or we do information gathering. So from there, we will try to enumerate UDS services by sending diagnostic session control. So when you say UDS, this is the Unified Diagnostic Services. And the next thing that I do is actually to use Carrying Caribou. So Carrying Caribou is like my go-to tool. It's like my Nmap for scanning the controller area network, looking for diagnostic session control. And then I try to fuzz the arbitration ID of the car. So after that, I try to perform CAN spoofing and replay attacks when opening doors, windows, trunks, or other significant sensors. So for example, if I'm already inside the CAN bus of the car, let's just say OBD2. I'm not ripping off one of the parts. So the next thing that I do is I log my CAN dumps, or what I did. For example, I opened the car, I pressed the emergency button, I try to open the trunk. So those sensors or those functionalities of the car, I try to log it all, and then after that I try to repeat it. And if there's like one arbitration ID, or there's like one functionality that I was able to replay, it's like MITM, man in the middle. And if it's successful, I try to replicate it, and then after that, I try to rip off one of the parts of the car, like the brake lights, the ADAS, or the body control module of the car. And then there's also like an old attack in cars. You can perform CAN injection through DOS, so denial of service. There's an old attack called fire hose attack, wherein if you send 0 as an arbitration ID, and the CAN frame with 8 bytes of 0, because 0 is the lowest priority. The lowest priority of CAN frame is treated as first in the CAN bus network. So after that, if you try to like open the car, you won't be able to, or if you perform a certain functionality, it seems like it's not working because you were able to DOS the CAN bus network. And then the next thing is check out other known CAN injection attacks and take it away. I have a tool that I developed, which I presented at DEF CON back then. It's called CANTOT, which is Controller Area Network Tools of Trade. So, from that, I can able to look on the source code of those Python scripts, and then try to like change the arbitration ID from that, and from there I can try to replicate it on other vehicles as well. Sorry. So the next thing that you could do is fuzz, and always log everything you do, like unlocking, spoofing, diagnostic sessions, security session, like security access, and then ECU hard reset. So there's a way that allows you to like reset your mileage, do an ECU hard reset, and everything. So you try to log everything that you do. There's a recent famous can injection attack. Basically, this is the reason why Toyota RAV4s were stolen in Europe, in Canada, and also in the US, and then luckily not in the Philippines. So a hacking device can allow thieves to steal a wide range of car models using an attack method called can injection. So this was found by Ian Tabor, who is actually my mentor and a good friend. Is currently recovering from cancer right now. And Ken Tendall, who is the guy behind creating the CAN bus from Bosch. Dr. Ken Tendall is also an inspiration because what they did is that Minternet's RAV4 was stolen. So they tried to research on how it was done, and they found out that there's a syndicate, or there are a couple of thieves, cyber thieves, that actually uses that kind of device. But it costs like 25,000 euro, and then it's disguised as a JBL speaker. So how do you open the car? You just need to break the headlights, find the CAN bus using the multimeter. So you need to use a logic analyzer, or you need to use a multimeter and measure 3.5 volts for CAN bus. There are 2 wires, and then you use a device to connect. It costs 25,000 US dollars, but I can actually recreate that one by just using $5 parts. Okay, I'll show you one. Wait, I will get my device. When I went to the airport in Delhi, they tried to play on some of the things that I have, because I have like a lot of HackRF, and then they also saw my flipper, they also saw my HackRF, and they said, "What is this?" And I said, "Is this GPS? Is this like for controlling the machines in the airport?" They said, "No, it's just my microphone or Game Boy." So yeah. Yeah, so basically this is HackRF, but that's not the one that I'm showing for CAN injection attack. So basically you can recreate this kind of attack. So 25,000 US dollar versus $5 parts. Last year, I was giving out PCB boards like this, but it ran out during VicOne, the conference that we have in the Philippines. So you just need an Arduino Nano, which is for like $3, and an MCP2515, and then you program with you reverse engineer that one and get the CAN frame that's sending to the headlights. So for just $5, you could actually create this kind of hack, but they're selling it for 25,000 euros. Yeah, so yeah, they tried to look on it, and I just said that I'm a firmware engineer in the airport, so that's why it's safe. Yeah, it's my first time that I'm being stopped. Like, it took me time in the airport. I didn't experience this in the US or in Singapore as well. So these are some of my tools, the NanoCan that I've shown, the real, and then $5, and then Contact, which is for $75. The tech maker, this was given to me by a couple of friends from Ukraine, and they are joining the fight against Russia right now, but I don't want to be biased really about that, but they're good guys as well. They created the CAN sniffer using STM32. And then we have ValueCan 4, which costs 175 US dollars. And then I have a new one called Cantac Pro as well. It costs like $200. The good thing about those expensive tools is that it comes with the software. Unlike this, you need to code your own firmware, or you need to upload your own sketch. So this is my favorite tool that I do. I use Carrying Caribou, and I try to brute force, or it's not really brute forcing, but you're trying to fuzz the arbitration ID and also discover the responses from the car. So as what you can see there as an example, 710, 7DF, and 7E0, they have a response of 778. So that means that these are unified diagnostic services of a car. So this is a sample demo when you do spoofing. This is from a Toyota Wigo of a friend that I have in the Philippines. So you can actually try to spoof the instrument cluster. So I've actually, so this is a known car, a small car in the Philippines. It's just like the Eon, Hyundai Eon. But then this is a Chinese brand, which I can't disclose because I was able to it's still being patched right now. So basically, we just connected to, we tried routing the infotainment, and then we noticed that you can actually install voice applications on the infotainment. And then after that, we tried using the voice messages, and then we intercepted the CAN frames that are sent by the voice messages, and we can actually open the trunks of the car. We can also open the sunroof and the windows as well, and also close it back. So this is actually a violation of ISO 21434 if you can actually do it remotely. And I will not disclose what's the name of this Chinese brand. If you want to learn more, you can actually play our CTF at VicOne and Block Harbor at ctf.blockharbor.io. So we had this pre-qualifying CTF 2 months ago, and then we had a CTF in Japan finals, and since I'll be going to the US in October 18, we will have the finals, and the winner gets 100,000 US dollars for being on the top, the top of the CTF. So there are already 6 teams. The current leading team is from Japan, actually, and then a couple of US cybersecurity, automotive cybersecurity companies. So yeah, it's a good, even though the CTF or the pre-qualifying is already done, you could still play the challenges that we built during our qualifying rounds. So you also get hands-on on our VSOC platform for vehicle security. So for example, if someone is actually trying to do a CAN injection on your car, and then there's we have X Carbon installed in one of the cars. So we have a solution to alert you if someone is trying to steal your car. We have this product called X Nexus. You get hands-on on that as well. On the CTF, you will be provided with a credential so that you can play with our platform. And it's for free. So now next is the exciting part, because people want to open cars. So RF cloning, key fob attacks. The known attacks that we know today are replay, but you can't do it because there's rolling codes in cars. We have the relay, which is the most known technique used by thieves that are stealing luxury vehicles, and then they actually try to take off the parts of your car, and after that they sell it to other people. And then there's easy way to somehow test if your car is vulnerable to this attack. It's called rollback and roll jam attacks. Roll jam, you need to jam first, but rollback, you don't need to jam. Okay, I will explain it later. You could also check if you could pull the encryption mechanism used by the key fob. So you can dump the firmware of the key fob, and then you can do RF testing, frequency analysis, and then check for raw signals or signals without rolling codes. But like I said, most cars right now, they have rolling codes. And then part of the testing that we do is also RF signal jamming, because maybe we can try to disable the radars of the car. I'll show you one example. At GeekCon 2020, yeah, this is from Singham, I think. But yeah, so in 2020, a contestant from Alibaba, who used to work at Trend Micro as well, interfered with the radar of an autonomous car, causing the car to mistakenly believe that there were no obstacles ahead and resulting in a crash. So there were 3 different cars hacked in the contest in 2020. So I know you will guess what car is that, but since it's no secret anymore, it's a Tesla actually. So in 2024, that same researcher used a device that jams or emits 77 gigahertz. That's a big radio frequency, right? Because hack RF is only until 6 gigahertz, and then the Blade RF is until 6 gigahertz, but Blade RF2 is, I think, 8 or 12. I'm not sure, I forgot. But so if you buy a radar, a device that allows you to create noises using 77 gigahertz, it costs a lot. But this guy from China, from Alibaba, was able to source out a transmitter that allows him to transmit 77 gigahertz. He didn't disclose what device was that, but I'm trying to research on it as well. This is patched in 2024. So when I went to GeekCon, because I participated at GeekCon in Singapore, it's a Chinese hacker conference. Jayohat was invited like in 2016 back then, and then a couple of iPhone jailbreakers. So the contest that I entered was opening one of the cars there as well, and was able to do it in 2 minutes. And then this guy, I was rooting for him because he was able to do it in 2020. But Tesla updated of course, their safety mechanism for their sensor, so it doesn't work anymore. So there's also another attack called rollback attacks. So when you try to use Flipper Zero hack RF using unlock signal, you won't be able to open the car if you unlock it again, or even if you replay it again, because there's an encryption called rolling code. But there's a rollback attack that was, actually people have been doing it, but Levante Syscore created a database out of the Asian cars that they have. And then I also contributed to that. We found out that out of the vehicles that we tested for newer vehicles, 40% of the vehicles are vulnerable to rollback attacks, while 60% are not vulnerable. So I always get that question, sir, how do I use Flipper? Actually, you just need to flash it with a new firmware, with actually not the official firmware. You can use other firmware, and then after that, you need to own it so that you will understand it. It's the easiest RF. But it's not the only tool. Like, I know it's hard to get it in India, because I've been asked a lot, like, sir, how do I get Flipper? Sir, how do I get Flipper? I said, actually, there are things that you can do. Maybe you can import it from another country, but I don't want to import it to my country because the customs also know what this is already. I paid like, if I convert it, I paid like 8,000 INR when to the customs in my country. But I didn't pay customs money for Evil Crow RF version 2, which is still the same. It's 1 gigahertz, but it's using ESP32. Flipper Zero uses STM32. Now, if Evil Crow RF and Flipper uses the same antenna, right? They use the C1101 module. And I would prefer HackRF with Portapack. Do you know why? So this is an HackRF that the airport police keeps on playing. So it has wider range, and also it's only it's touchscreen as well, and it's up to 6 gigahertz. So when you test cars, basically I like this better. So it's touchscreen. So if you want to capture, wait, I have sticky fingers, sorry. Okay, so basically, when someone is actually transmitting a frequency, or for example, opening their key fob, you will see signals here. Then you can replay, or replay, record, and then replay it again. So you don't need to use a computer for you to do it as well. And there are things that you could do, a lot of things. You could create a jammer as well for higher frequency. So yeah. Flipper is not your only answer. So we have Evil Crow RF. These are alternatives that you can buy when you do RF testing. So let's, I saw this in TourCon, yeah, this meme. So friendship ended with human, Flipper is my best friend. I don't know why this meme was in TourCon, but it was funny as hell because, yeah, because I don't know, is he Indian, Pakistan, or Bangladesh? Is this guy a known guy in India? Oh no, okay. So maybe it's not Indian. So this is from a Toyota Wigo. So I lock it and then recorded 3 signals, 3 valid signals from a Toyota Wigo using HackRF. And then, let's wait. So yeah. You can see that red line. That is the first signal, the second signal, and the third signal. Right, and was able to open the Wigo. So basically, it has rolling code. So if you only record 1 signal, it won't open. Now, I said it's not practical if you use 3 signals to record the car. There's a way to loop it. So there's a way to loop it in Flipper Zero. There's also a way to loop it on HackRF. Now sometimes it doesn't work because it depends on the rollback. But really, the attack here is that you can open the car with 3 valid signals. So yeah, everything is happy with Flipper. So let's have a Flipper demo. Yeah. So this is for the car that we always bring in the Car Hacking Village Philippines, because we had a lot of vulnerabilities aside from RF attack. It's hard to take a video POC with just you and holding Flipper and your camera. So it uses 3 valid signals to also open Mazda 2017. And the funny thing is that it's also 2023 is also vulnerable. Yeah. Now you might be asking, are there newer models that are affected? Yeah. I recently found a Toyota SUV. It's not Fortuner. It's another SUV from Toyota, which I can't disclose, and I just reported. I needed 5 signals to open it and was able to. But the good thing is that I just needed 2 valid signals, and I need to loop it for me to, and then loop it like 3 times again, and then I was able to open the car. It has a rolling code as well. This is a bonus demo. This is from Tesla's GeekPon. So I went to GeekPon and I played with one of the Tesla that was not hacked. But as what you can see, even though I didn't record the signal for opening the charger port, it allows you to open it because it's static. So it's free for all. You don't need to like capture it. There's already a lot of valid signals on GitHub. And Everyone loves Flipper. This is not automotive already. So this is from the hotel that I'm staying right now. Yeah. So this is not automotive, right? This is NFC. But of course, Tesla is using NFC, but it's not vulnerable to this kind of attack. This is the first time in a hotel wherein I don't need to brute force the key. So I just like plugged up. I didn't need a word list to brute force the Mifari keys. So I said, wait, it happened? Because I need to brute force on some. But yeah, it was easy to do that. Questions? Any questions? I hope I don't get in jail for doing that in the hotel. Because in RootCon, we had a lot of reports from other attendees that are using their Flipper. And it was funny as hell because the hotel managers questioned us.
I have a question for you. So the rolling code, right? Like, why is it only 3 signals or 5 signals unlocks the car and not just one?
That's a very good question. All right. So it is not for all vehicles. Like I said, 40% and 60%, right? Those vehicles that are doing it is because there's a sliding window for you not to be able to lock your car. So the third signal is because that's the sliding window, and it does a counter resynchronization. So that's the reason. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't able to explain that a while ago, but that's the reason. There's a sliding window on the third signal.
Thank you.
Yeah. It shouldn't be that way. It's a stupid way. But yeah. Like I said, sometimes in the automotive, I mean, there are a lot of like improvements at the auto. I'm not saying automakers are stupid, but sometimes there are miss out. It's just like any bug bounties, like someone was able to find a default admin on Netflix and it's using default credentials and it's P1, right? So take for example, just like that. Any more questions? Yeah. Please don't ask me where to buy Flipper. It's on flipperzero.com. All right. Any more questions? Okay, that's it. Okay. Thanks everyone, and I hope that you enjoyed the talk.